Today on Across the Fence, we're in the classroom with Vermont students to learn about hands-on learning involving some fine feathered friends. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for choosing Across the Fence. I'm Will Michael, and this afternoon for Judy Simpson. The University of Vermont Extension 4-H Embryology program has reached generations of Vermont school kids. The program teaches basic science and much more to students across the state. Teachers and students alike applaud the program for its hands-on approach to learning. So we start today with a look at what's hatching in the embryology program. Here's Across the Fence's Keith Silva, who visited a school in Franklin County where embryology is a classroom favorite.
For students at the St. Albans School, learning math and science and reading and writing is elementary, and sometimes fluffy.
Yeah. Chickens hatch in 21 days.
How do you know that?
Because I just learned it by my own brain. Chickens, when they are born, they call them chicks, and then when they first hatch, they use their egg tooth to poke it out, and it's called embryology. I thought they would be nice and like playing around when they hatch, but they're not because they're tired.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You probably couldn't play very much when you just hatched either, I bet. Every spring, the UVM Extension 4-H Embryology Project delivers 200 dozen fertilized eggs to teachers in Vermont. Children in preschool through high school and homeschooled students take part in this project.
So this is what, who knows the science word for what the egg is called? When the baby chick is growing inside, I want to call on someone.
Hailee Adams remembers the embryology project when she was a student at St. Albans City School. Now that she's a teacher, the project means even more.
It's something I remember as a 5-year-old, being in Miss Lawyer's class, you know, having that hands-on experience of the chicks when they hatched, and then growing up and realizing how much actually goes into it and how much I can pull from the program to teach my kids in other ways, the science, the math, the literacy. So as a teacher, I'm realizing all these skills that are embedded in the project, and it's really project-based learning at its best.
The 4-H embryology curriculum is open-ended, so teachers get to decide how they want to use it in their lesson plans. The only requirement is to make sure to follow the 4-H model of learning by doing, which for these teachers is the best way for students to learn.
What they've learned about comes to life for them. It's in their hands, it's real, it's not just pictures in a book, so they just get so inspired and so excited. And being able to help with the process and just hands-on is the best, I think, for the kids.
For me, just having them be able to not only touch it and feel it and be able to smell it soon as well, and be able to hear it. It's the 5 senses, really being involved with being able to teach.
Opening a book or doing worksheets around this wouldn't be ingrained in the brain as much as the touching and the feeling and the hearing and the being responsible, and I've got to go to school tomorrow because I've got to turn those eggs. For some of these kids, it's huge. And I think it's just those lasting experiences, being able to see it firsthand, that makes it really stick.
They are nice.
The 4-H Embryology Project is adaptable to any age as well as any subject. This flexibility helps teachers meet state and federal education requirements, or what's known as the Common Core.
We're now responsible for teaching these 5- and 6-year-olds about temperature and about technology. And since the Common Core has been around, as early educators, we're always, especially me as a kindergarten teacher, looking for ways to make those things alive for 5- and 6-year-olds.
Many teachers use 4-H embryology to highlight another teaching standard that emphasizes science, technology, engineering, and math, better known as STEM. Lewis is using a microscope with his kindergartners to get more up close and personal with the eggs.
I thought it'd be neat to use a microscope to try to find some pores on the eggshell and maybe describe what's inside an egg. And some children had not even cracked open an egg before. So that was a little bit unsettling, and I think that it's that hands-on dive right in, get your hands dirty, and so I think bringing that into the classroom was beneficial in many ways.
Martha Manning is the UVM Extension 4-H educator who oversees the Embryology project.
Embryology for these students is really their first connection and their first class at the University of Vermont. I think it's exciting to see the students get excited about science. We all know we need more scientists in the future, and I think it's just the hands-on approach really sparks their interest in science in maybe ways that they had never even considered as science.
So let's take a look at
even though this is rural Vermont, we have a lot of people who have never held a live chicken. They may never have seen a baby chick as it hatches. So it's important for them to see this part of the life cycle of a chicken, but it also gives them that connection to the food that they eat.
But she's a hen, which means what?
She's a mom.
From science and meeting educational standards to life skills, there's a lot the 4-H Embryology project offers teachers and students. It's also a great way to keep a TV reporter on his toes. Do you think you'd be a good mother hen, George?
No,
Why not?
because I am not a girl. I am a boy.
Very good, but you're going to take care of those chickens, though.
Yes. I like it when the chicks hatch and we get to play with them.
Is that the best part of this?
Well, no. It's one of the best things about it. But another good thing is listening to the chicks cheep before they come out of their eggs. And waiting. It's kind of a surprise for when they come out of their eggs. So it's kind of fun to wait for the surprise.
Tell me one thing you learned about raising chickens.
That they eat corn. They eat like corn and stuff.
They eat corn and stuff inside the egg?
No, when they're hatched.
What's your favorite part of embryology?
Holding the chickens. I like the chicken because he's really cute and he's soft. You must like me.
Cute, fluffy, and definitely hands-on. There's a lot to like and learn with the 4-H Embryology project.
Embryology, embryology.
In St. Albans, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
Well, thank you, Keith. Joining me here in the studio this afternoon are two guests. UVM Extension 4-H educator Martha Manning, who's the statewide coordinator of the Embryology program and project. Thank you for coming in.
Good afternoon.
And alongside Martha is Andrew Judge. Andrew has developed, how do I say it, a unique partnership with Martha and the Embryology program, and we're going to learn about your unique involvement in this in just a moment. But again, thank you both for coming in.
Great.
Martha, we talked about this. I remember my days decades ago at Williston Central School and my involvement in embryology, and to this day it never ceases to amaze me how excited we all get, the kids in particular. What is it about this program that excites young kids?
I think it's the opportunity to see that they're starting with a fertile egg, and it's kind of like a little mystery because they can't really see inside that egg. And then as they go along, they learn to candle those eggs, to kind of watch the embryos develop inside. And then it's always a very exciting day when the chicks hatch.
And as we saw in Keith's piece, it's the hands-on as well, it's the science, but there's art projects, there are writing projects. So there, even if science isn't for a particular child, they're going to find another way to get involved in this project, it seems to me.
The teachers are very innovative about using the project cross-curriculum.
Yeah.
And so it's part of their whole learning experience for the 3.5 weeks that the chicks are from the egg to the chicks are in the classroom.
There's a lot that goes into this, into the program. There's equipment like the incubator. There's the curriculum. Where does that come from? How would a teacher or a school find out about this?
If they would like more information, they can call UVM Extension at 1-800-639-2130, or they can connect to us through the web. The incubators and the materials are owned by the school. They can purchase them through UVM Extension, the same with the fertile eggs.
Is there an assessment of the program? It's been around for a while. I think it works. I said I went through it. How do you assess it? How do you know it works?
We do an evaluation with the teachers and the educators who present the program. And then you can also gain a lot of information just by going into a classroom and talking to the students.
One of the questions that comes up, we've talked about it in the past, people want to know what happens to the birds after they leave the school in June?
These are a commercial meat chicken. And so over the years, we have had families or farms who would take the chicks and raise them. And then last year, we were very fortunate to make a connection with Andrew, and he had this really wild idea about raising some of the chickens and turning them into pot pies. And since most of the chickens had already been promised out last year, we only had a few chickens to give him. And this year we're hoping to have many more chickens go to that project because it's a real community effort and it's for community good.
Let me turn over and bring Andrew into our conversation briefly. How did this partnership come about? Martha says that you came to her, basically.
I did. I had heard about the embryology project through the grapevine. St. Albans is a small community, and I phoned up Martha, and she was very welcoming. She did suggest that I learn a little bit about raising birds, so she referred me to the Hannaford Career Center.
Yep.
And I went down there.
That's down in Addison County, down in Middlebury.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And they have been taking birds from the embryology project for a while to raise for their food shelf down there. And they provided information about feed schedules and the needs of the bird. I ended up raising 19 birds, and from those 19 birds, we made 182 pot pies.
You shared with us a series of photographs, everything, a little bit of the processing through the kitchen work. Our director, Adam Wright's going to put that on, and you can begin to tell us. The initial step, of course, is the processing, but where did you go from here? Where did you go to make the pot pies? Who did all this work, Andrew?
What you see is the mobile processing unit at the Hannaford Career Center, which you can see that I process birds alongside of their staff and crew, and they trained me up on this. There was a USDA inspector right beside me, and so all our meat was USDA inspected, vacuum sealed, like you would get at the store. You see our volunteers here at the Chittenden County Emergency Food Shelf Kitchen Training Academy, where they train young chefs. And we had 10 volunteers come down with their families and help make the pot pies.
I want to jump in here to point out, as we continue to see the pictures, this was a heck of an undertaking. You guys did this during Thanksgiving week.
That's right. It was a very, very busy week for everybody, the volunteers as well as the staff at the food shelf, and they generously opened their doors. And you can see that families came down and made the pot pies. The pot pies had a biscuit topping, and Chef, he'll come up in one of the photos, but Chef Emmett Mosley, who runs their food truck, prepared the base about a day ahead of time so that the process was very smooth. And when we came, we had a base, and then we divided up into our 3 flavors. We had 3 chefs in St. Albans prepare recipes, and then we followed those recipes. We had a chicken curried pot pie, which was my wife's favorite. Yep. Oh, by the way, I must say, Martha, you mentioned that it was an innovative idea to turn these chickens into pot pies. That was actually my wife's idea because I was going to provide meat for the food shelf, and she said, you know, everybody loves pot pies. They're a hearty meal for the wintertime. Why don't you do that? So we've just been seeing some of the labels. Yeah. And I also want to point out that there's a banner. This was, I don't have the words for it. There was just an enormous community effort. This was heartfelt, Andrew. Well, I felt a lot of love from the community with tremendous support from Martha and many others helping us get this done. An undertaking like this, even with just 19 birds, it's a lot of work. And so we created this banner to signify how the community works together to create these pot pies.
With that, I need to stop us. We've unfortunately run out of time. There's some new things you're going to do this year, and we're going to have you back. We'll keep an eye on the embryology project. We're running long, but I do want to point out Andrew's contact information. If you'd like to know how to volunteer or more information, you can reach him at his email address, andrewmjudge@yahoo.com, or you can call him, the number on your screen, 309-5362. We just didn't have enough time to get to all the things we wanted, but I really appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
That is our program for today. We know you have choices, so thanks for choosing us. I'm Will Michael, inviting you to join us back here each weekday afternoon for another visit Across the Fence.